Shalom. In today's study, we will take a more profound look into the Proverbs 31 woman. The Proverbs 31 teaching is not limited to women. It is indeed for men as well. Therefore, in today's study, we will start at the beginning of the chapter to evaluate precisely who the mother spoke to for a little more insight and understanding about finding a virtuous wife. And we will begin with Proverbs 31, 1-5, which reads, The words of King Lemuel, the utterance which his mother taught him. What, my son, and what son of my womb, and what son of my vows? Do not give your strength to loose woman, nor your ways to that which destroyed kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes intoxicating drink, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the justice of all the afflicted. Now we will dive deeper and do some precepts to gain a little more understanding of the conversation between a mother and her son. Remember, precepts are done line by line, here a little, there a little. And we will start with Proverbs 31:2, which reads, What, my son, and what son of my womb, and what son of my vows? Focusing on the son of my womb, that will take us to Isaiah 49:15, which reads, Can a woman forget her suckling child, that she have no compassion on the womb, the son of her womb? Even these may forget, yet I will not forget you. Next, we will drop down to verse 3, which reads, Do not give your strength to loose woman, nor your ways to that which destroyed kings. Focusing on C, do not give your strength to loose woman. If you look at the precepts on the right, staying in Proverbs, that will take us to chapter 5, verse 9, which reads, Lest you give your honor to others and your years to the merciless. Staying in Proverbs 31:3, we will now drop down to D, which reads, To that which destroys kings. And as you can see, this one has a few precepts. And we will begin with Deuteronomy 17:17, which reads, And he shall not multiply wives for himself, lest his heart turn away, nor shall he greatly multiply for himself silver or gold. Staying with D, to that which destroyed kings, we will now go to Nehemiah 13:26, which reads, Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin on account of such woman? Among the many nations, there was no king like him, and he was beloved by Elohim. And Elohim made him king over Israel. Nevertheless, foreign women made even him to sin. Staying with D, to that which destroyed kings. Now that will take us to Proverbs 7:26, which reads, For many a victim has she laid low, yea, all her slain are a mighty host. The final precept for to that which destroyed kings will take us to Hosea 4:11, which reads, Wine and new wine take away understanding. It is a mother's God-given duty to provide their sons with this vital information about women to help them make a conscious decision about whom they choose to pick as a helpmeet when they come of age. The king is warned against succumbing to the wiles of woman who would sap his strength into a boy's strong drink, lest he rules unwisely and unjustly. Throughout history, Hasatan used women to bring down the men because he knew that they were the heads of the household. And if you cut off the head, the whole body will fall. Wiles mean devious or cunning stratagems employed in manipulating or persuading someone to do what one wants. As women, we must do our best to be virtuous women, to provide our children with a great example of what she looks like and teach them from our past mistakes. Remember that Mary was once a harlot who turned from her old ways and is now considered virtuous. Children are sponges and mimic what they see. Therefore, knowing how to discern the qualities of virtue is essential for building a kingdom family for males and females. For this reason, we will go over the characteristics of a woman of virtue in this study and point out a few aspects of a woman without along the way. And we will start with Proverbs 31:10, and it reads, "A good wife, who can find her? She is far more precious than jewels." Focusing on K, a good wife, who can find her, we will go to Proverbs 12:4, which reads, "A good wife is the crown of her husband, but she who brings shame is like rottenness in his bones." Staying with a good wife, who can find her? Next, we will go to Proverbs 18:22, which reads, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor." And last, staying in Proverbs, we will go to chapter 19, verse 14, which reads, "House and wealth are inherited from fathers, but a prudent wife is from Yahweh." Prudent, careful or wise in handling practical matters, exercising good judgment or common sense, a prudent manager of money. Characterized by or resulting from care or wisdom in practical matters or planning for the future, a prudent investment. Next, we will go to Proverbs 31:11, which reads, "The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain." Remember, in the previous study, we mentioned that the job of the rib, which is the woman, is to protect the heart. When a man can trust his wife, he can focus on his role and properly guide and provide for his family. She adds to him rather than take. Verse 12 tells us that she does him good and not harm all the days of her life. So a woman of virtue comforts and encourages her husband as long as there is life in her. Verse 13, she seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. This shows us that she is a woman who knows how to sew. Verse 14, she is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. So here, verse 14 shows us that she is willing to journey to provide for her family with what they need. Verse 15, she rises up while it is yet night and provides food for her household and tasks for her maidens. Focusing on L, she rises up while it is yet night. That will take us to Romans 12:11, which reads, never flag in zeal, be aglow with the Spirit, serve Yahuwah. Staying in verse 15, we will drop down to M, and provides food for her household and tasks for her maidens. And that will take us to Luke 12:42, which reads, and Yahuwah said, who then is the faithful and wise steward, whom his master will set over his household to give them their portion of food at the proper time? As we can see, the food that she rises at night is spiritual. A woman endowed with wisdom can pass it down to her children and help her husband make a righteous judgment. On the other hand, a woman who does not serve Yahuwah only harms her family because she has nothing to feed them. Material possessions are temporary, but wisdom lasts forever. Verse 16 tells us that she considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. So we can see that she is indeed a prudent woman who counts the cost before buying or accepting a new field. She does not operate in hasty financial decision making. Instead, she makes wise choices to benefit her family. Verse 17, she girds her loins with strength and makes her arms strong. Here we see that she takes care of herself, both spiritually and mentally and physically. How can a woman help others if she's not doing it for herself? She understands how vital self-care is. Verse 18 tells us that she perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out. This scripture shows us that she knows that her work with and for Yahuwah is good. He will provide for us when we do the Father's will. Therefore, our lamp will burn continually. He will be there in the times of trouble, sorrow, and warning away fear, doubt, and distrust, for He is our light. Verse 19, she puts her hands to the distaff and her hands to hold the spittle. Once again, she is a woman who sows or obtains a skill. Verse 20, she opens her hands to the poor and reaches her hand to the needy, whether in body, mind, or spirit. If she sees anyone struggling with their spiritual walk, she helps them. Suppose she has extra food and sees that her neighbor down the street is in need. She will provide for them without thinking twice. And this is who we need to be. Sometimes we must ask ourselves whether we are given more than we take. Verse 21. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for her household are clothed in scarlet. Here, the scarlet she clothes her household with is the blood of Yahusha, also known as Jesus. Moving on, we will drop down to verse 22, which reads, she makes herself coverings, her clothing is fine linen and purple. This verse has a few precepts, and we will start with Isaiah 61:10, which reads, I will greatly rejoice in Yahuwah. My soul shall exalt in my Elohim, for he has clothed me with the garments of salvation. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decks himself with a garland, and as a bride adorns herself with jewels. Staying with She makes herself coverings. Her clothing is fine, linen and purple. We will go to 1 Timothy 2:9, which reads, "Also, that women should adorn themselves modestly and sensibly and seemingly apparel, not with braided hair or gold or pearls or costly attire." Next, we will go to Revelations 19:8, which reads, "It was granted her to be clothed with fine linen, bright and pure, for the fine linen is the righteous deeds of the saints." And we will return to Proverbs 31, verse 23, which reads, "Her husband is known in the gates, when he sits among the elders of the land." We will precept, "Oh, her husband is known in the gates." Staying in Proverbs, that will take us to Proverbs 12:4, which reads, "A good wife is the crown of her husband, but she who brings shame is like rottenness in his bones." Verse 24, "She makes linen garments and sells them. She delivers girdles to the merchant." We can see that the Proverbs 31 woman is a businesswoman. She uses her God-given skills to help provide an income for her family. Verse 25, "Strength and dignity are her clothing. She laughs at the times to come. Here she can rejoice over the future because she knows that her position is solid and secure and that her family is ready for it." Verse 26, "She opens her mouth with wisdom and kindness, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. This woman gives counsel and instruction." Verse 27, "She looks well to the way of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness, which is gossip, discontent, and self-pity." Focusing on "she looks well to the ways of her household," we will go to Titus 2:5, which reads, "Be sensible, chaste, domestic, kind, and submissive to their husbands, that the word of Yahuwah may not be discredited." Verse 28, "Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her." Verse 29, "Many women have done virtuously, but you surpass them all." Verse 30, "Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears Yahuwah is to be praised." Instead, we should not solely focus on the outer appearance, but look at the heart and the actions. Is she a woman who serves Yahuwah with joy and gladness? Verse 31, "Give her of the fruits of her hands praise, and let her works praise her in the gate." This verse has one precept, which is Philippians 4:8, which reads, "Finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is lovely, whatever is gracious, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things." Conclusion. The virtuous wife has a status of honor. She is more precious than jewels, trusted by her husband, wise, diligent in providing for the needs of her household, even to the point of engaging in commerce, considerate of the less fortunate, and praised by her family. So, if you are a woman who is listening to this study, I pray that if not already, that you strive to be her and teach your sons about the qualities of this woman and pass down virtue to your daughters. Men, if you are listening, I pray that you seek out a woman of integrity and use discernment according to Torah. Then, if married already, help your wife by washing her with the word and encouraging her to be this woman. The kingdom family must operate in order. Due to the fall, beginning with Adam and Eve, we have turned from our original purpose as man and woman. Here, at Shed Light on Life, we believe that it is due time to restore where we fell from, and that is the kingdom of Yahuwah. In our final study, we will go deeper into the unchaste woman to get a deeper understanding of the woman opposite of the virtuous woman. And if you like and enjoy these videos, we ask that you share them to someone who is in need of these teachings. That is the sole purpose of us shedding light on life. And I just want to say thank you for listening, and shalom to you all. And I would like to say all praises to Adonai, Yahusha, Hamashiach, and Yahuwah Sabaoth, which is Yahuwah of hosts.